Cardin. He's one of the greats.
I'm here to talk to P. David Ebersole and Todd Hughes about their amazing, absolutely fascinating documentary, House of Cardin. So I think I remember at the beginning of the film that Cardin clearly stated that he wasn't interested in any kind of biography or even writing an autobiography. It just didn't mean anything to him. How did you grab a documentary of this scope?
We say it's kind of divine intervention. We were in Paris with our last documentary, and we're Cardin fans, so we just wanted to try to meet the man, shake his hand, go into his store. We've heard that he goes through his store on Tuesday mornings, make sure everything is to his liking, and that he would love to meet Cardin fans like us. And so we went in, and before we knew it, we talked to one person, talked to the next person. They were introducing us to Pierre Cardin as documentary filmmakers, and he said yes to doing a documentary. So
That's amazing. And what, at 97?
95 when we met him.
Okay, so now he's
97.
Still going strong. If you watch this film, you're
Yeah.
going to be enthralled by everything he's put his fingers on. I mean, truly a visionary, truly an avant-garde modernist, right?
Absolutely,
I mean, not just fashion.
Go ahead.
He really exemplifies that if you do what you love, the money follows. Right? He's never been motivated by money. He's motivated by creation, which is such a refreshing thing now.
And you've truly captured that in the film. I mean, everything that he got involved with, he made happen, but he still kept the brand, the whole idea of brand, and then going as a businessman, going into licensing.
It's been very interesting with this movie because often, you get press, and we're going to get fashion press, or we might get film press. We've been getting business press, so Forbes, Inc., Financial Times covers us because he is a remarkable businessman. He's a mogul.
Well, wasn't he the first to actually license his name,
He wasn't
globally?
the first, but he was the first to see the potential and the scope of it.
Yeah.
And he licensed how many products all over the world?
At one point, I believe he had 800.
800 licenses, which means many more products than that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, people say 800 products. We're like, no, 800 license deals. That's a lot of products.
It's pretty amazing. Well, and at one point, he actually bought Maxime's in Paris, which was the hub of all of the creativity of everything from the Belle Epoque on, and music, theater.
He bought that restaurant in 1981 when it was falling on hard times.
Interesting.
And he bought it, and then using his business acumen, developed it into an international brand and opened up restaurants all over the world.
Yeah.
And in Palm Springs?
He ventured into hotels. His first and only Maxime's de Paris suite hotel, right? You can almost see it from here.
Isn't that incredible?
Canyon Boulevard, 1986.
Yeah. And you always talked about the full circle. He always talked about the full circle. This is part of it. We're all coming back to Palm Springs.
Yeah.
So that hotel, then what? Did he ever come to Palm Springs?
Oh,
was
yeah,
Pierre
yeah.
Cardin in Palm Springs?
We actually have great pictures of it. It's funny, in a documentary you have to be careful about not taking too many splinters and going off in different directions, but we do have pictures of him on the balcony of the Hyatt, what is now the Hyatt.
We found a
Hyatt.
pack of those old photos you used to get with the negatives, color prints of him and his friend checking in and goofing around.
Looking at the mountains, etc. Right, it's so cool.
It's
really
amazing.
Cool stuff.
It's amazing. So what was it like to actually sit down and talk with him?
It's interesting, I guess, because at this point we've done, it's our 5th documentary. So we've talked to a lot of icons in our lives. We don't really quite get starstruck or weak kneed by it. But when you spend time with people like this, he is just human, but extraordinarily so. Yeah. And so you get insight into life, you learn about things about yourself, you find out things, that you never would have thought were imaginable.
We've developed a real affection with him.
Yeah.
So it's so nice with everyone in the House of Cardin when we see each other. We're just like, we can't speak to each other because we don't speak French, they don't speak English, but we're like, we love you.
Were they throwing the clothes on you?
We're still working on that.
You're still working on
that.
But and speaking of working, how long did this film take to produce?
2 years to the day from when we met Mr. Cardin. And
Okay.
the reason we know that is that we, the whole goal of meeting him in the first place was to get a picture for Facebook with our friends and be able to say, we're so cool, we're standing here with Mr. Cardin. And that picture popped up as a 2-year memory on Facebook the day we were premiering at the Venice Film Festival.
Oh, wow.
So the exact day, so 2 years to the day.
Wow. Amazing.
Which is a record for most documentaries. For us, it's
Yeah, they go on.
And were you saying you were like living in Paris for a while, just following him around?
Yeah,
Practically.
we spent, last year we were really editing, but the year before we spent about half the year in Paris. We're very lucky to have found a friend with a beautiful apartment who let us use it. And the more time we spent with Pierre, the more he got to know us, the more the cameras disappeared and he became himself. And we got a really special...
Wow, that's amazing. Then with offsetting that with all the archival footage that you acquired, that was unbelievable.
Yeah, it
and
was
then
a deep dive into it.
Wow. And then interviewing certain, like Guopei in China. I mean, because China's a huge market.
It's an amazing thing when you do a documentary on somebody of the level of Pierre Cardin and it's authorized, which is that you call people up like Guopei and they say, absolutely, I'd love to be in the Pierre Cardin
so
documentary.
That's how it works.
Or, Dionne Warwick or
Dionne Warwick was front and
Jean-Paul
center.
Gaultier
was.
And they say, yes, I want to be in that.
Yeah.
I sent,
chasing them down, so.
on Facebook, I found the Jean-Michel Jarre fan page.
Oh, yeah.
And sent an email saying, we're in Paris one more day. Because we had just found out that he was married to Charlotte Rampling, and they were good friends of Pierre. Pierre was a sponsor of his in the early days, and he used Oxygene, remember that album by him?
Yes.
For all his fashion shows.
It's his
and
favorite
so
music.
that morning, we're in Paris one day too, come on over. And he gave us that beautiful interview where he really told us about how he's a patron of the arts and has sponsored so many artists with his great wealth. He doesn't keep it for himself, he sponsors commissions operas, commissions plays.
I mean, he had his own theater for a number of years. It's a Spas, which
52 years.
Yeah, which really was cutting edge. A lot of avant-garde theater, from what I saw, was going on, and
that's why he
set design and
he knew Alice Cooper.
Costumes and
in 1972. He knew this guy was doing experimental musical theater, and it was Alice Cooper doing his shock rock show. And he brought it to Paris, and it created a riot.
Oh yeah, that was that you've got to catch that. You definitely have to catch that in the documentary.
We love that
it
moment
was
when people
amazing.
go like, "What is Alice Cooper doing in a Pierre Cardin documentary?"
I know,
and he's so great. He's such a nice man, Alice Cooper.
I've heard that too.
And I love when we
Lovely
asked
guy.
Pierre, like, "Did you like the Alice Cooper show?" And he said, "Parts of it."
Yeah, yeah. As Alice is sitting on this like really mod red.
Well, he's being
Cardin.
electrocuted on stage.
Well, also bringing it back to the future here, two things. Your home is filled with so many artifacts, so many pieces of furniture and collectibles from Pierre Cardin, and I hear you're going to actually do a pop-up at some point with your home will be on.
Modernism Week is doing a signature tour of our house.
Okay.
And that's on February 16th. We're working on trying to put together a pop-up exhibit of things in our house, but also some things from Paris
And
as
your
well.
car, and that
we're going
car.
to drive the car. So yeah, he did a 1972 AMC Javelin that we own, and actually now it's a tax write-off because it's the thing that made Cardin say yes to working with us, which is that he saw the car on my phone, and then he said, "You drive it?
The circle comes
it
back
actually
again."
works." And we were like, "Yeah." And then he looked at the phone, looked at us, looked at me, looked at Todd, and he said, "What do you want to do and when do you want to start?"
Too bad you couldn't have taken him for a spin, too. That is amazing.
Well,
it's all
Rodrigo,
about the car.
His nephew is coming here in February, and number one on the agenda, he wants to drive.
Oh, okay. That's his nephew who does a lot of the
glamorous Italian in
talks.
the film.
He actually has been working with his
for
uncle
20 years.
So you've been all over the world shopping this around to all the festivals. What's next? What about distribution?
So we've sold to 20 countries worldwide: China, Japan, France, UK, Germany, etc. And we finally just closed a deal for North America. So it will come out in North America in theaters in May.
Okay, so be mostly independent theaters, indie films,
like your local art house.
But we'll be here in Palm Springs.
Yes,
well, the Camelot.
Should be the Camelot. Is what we think. It could be. There's that other great theater that's out in Palm Desert. That plays a lot of documentaries.
That's Triluse. that one.
Yeah, Triluse.
Triluse. I don't know. No, that's a restaurant. Sorry. Okay. Well, Todd, David, thank you so much, and do catch it, House of Cardin.
Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you. Cheers again. Congrats.
I'm Conrad.
And I'm Claudia.
Did you like what you just saw?
Of course you
Then
did.
push on this button and subscribe.
And remember to ring the bell.
And then that way you'll have the Palm Springs point of view.